Hey, our next video in the Billy Joel We Didn't Start the Fire series. The atomic bomb ended World War II, but the hydrogen bomb? It was built, well, basically to end the world. So let's talk about the H-bomb, next topic in the song. The H-bomb, or the hydrogen bomb, is a thermonuclear weapon. It's far more powerful than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And while an atomic bomb uses nuclear fission, which is the splitting of atoms, an H-bomb uses nuclear fusion, which is the same process that powers the sun. This isn't just bigger, it's exponential. The Hiroshima bomb was about 15 kilotons of TNT. A typical H-bomb, well, it's more like hundreds or even thousands of kilotons. It's not just a weapon of war, it's a symbol of ultimate destruction. So after World War II, the United States had a monopoly on nuclear weapons. But in 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested its own atomic bomb. And this was years earlier than U.S. scientists expected. And the reaction in Washington, D.C. was essentially panic, right? So let's enter the H-bomb into the equation. So in 1950, President Harry Truman authorized its development, not for military necessity, but essentially to maintain nuclear superiority in an escalating Cold War. So on November 1st of 1952, the United States detonated Ivy Mike, the world's first hydrogen bomb, and it took place in the Marshall Islands. It vaporized an entire island, and it created a mushroom cloud over 100,000 feet high. And just 9 months later, well, the Soviets tested theirs. And so the arms race was officially on. Now, the development of the H-bomb ushered in the era of MAD, which is an acronym that means Mutually Assured Destruction. The idea is simple and it's terrifying. If both sides had weapons that could annihilate each other, neither side would dare to use them. But it created a balance built not on trust, but on fear instead. And so countries began stockpiling weapons, building missile silos, nuclear submarines, airborne bombers, and all of these were ready to fire at a moment's notice. Civilians were taught to duck and cover, fallout shelters were built, and children grew up believing a nuclear war could happen any day. The Cold War wasn't just ideological, it was radioactive. So, since the 1950s, the world has tested over 2,000 nuclear weapons, and many of them were H-bombs. The largest ever was the Soviet Tsar Bomba, which was detonated in 1961. And it had the explosive power of 50 million tons of TNT. It shattered windows hundreds of miles away. But despite decades of tension, the H-bomb has never been used in war. Arms reduction treaties like START, SALT, and the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty have helped reduce the overall global arsenal. But still, as of today, 9 countries possess nuclear weapons, and many of them are thermonuclear. So while the Cold War may be over, the threat has never fully disappeared. Why does it matter? Well, the invention of the H-bomb changed the very nature of warfare, diplomacy, and also fear. It turned world leaders into gamblers with chips worth entire cities. It showed how far we'd go to feel safe, and also how close we've come to the edge. And it raised a question that still hangs in the air. Can humanity handle the power to destroy itself? All right, next up, and We Didn't Start the Fire, Sugar Ray. So follow to keep learning the story behind every lyric, and that's the H-bomb, one of those things you should know by being alive. Thanks for watching.